Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spark My Muse. I'm your host, Lisa Colon Delay, and today I'm giving you a clip of something I hope you go and find at my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just youtube.com/@ Spark My Muse. And what I'm going to have for the podcast today is the Lenten sessions, week 1, and the theme is repentance. I have on a Coptic Christian, Egyptian Christian, Phoebe, Farag, Mikhail, and she explains what Coptic Christianity is, one of the earliest traditions of Christianity from 64 AD. The Apostle Mark, in their tradition, is known to have started the Egyptian church. And she goes into how they see repentance and confession and how we might walk with the desert elders during Lent. I think it's a fascinating episode that you can find in its entirety, of course, on YouTube. And there will just be a clip here. I go into some detail about vain repetition because we talk about arrow prayers, of which the Jesus prayer is one of them. And I was taught in evangelicalism, fundamentalism, that anything prayed that's already a prayer, that's not extemporaneous, is potentially vain repetition. And so I go into a piece about that on the episode. There's some interesting stories about some of the desert elders, and I think you're going to really get a lot out of it. So thanks for listening, and I hope that you connect with me also on Substack, sparkmymuse.substack.com. Let's connect over Lent. Come and join us on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have a different co-host each time, and we'll talk about a different theme of Lent. The next theme, March 1st, is on sacrifice, a very potent theme of Lent. Thank you for listening.
Baptism is your door to the rest of the sacraments, including the sacrament of confession. I have a story which I mentioned in my book, where it's a story my husband told me of a friend of his who was Muslim, and he was traveling to Lebanon, as Maronite Catholics, majority Maronite Catholics, and this friend told him, the best thing about Christianity is that you have confession. And he's like, my husband was like, oh, what?
Huh.
So,
Wow.
what do you mean? He wasn't expecting. He said, I went to Lebanon, and I went into a church, and I went into the booth. So this is the Catholic tradition where there is like a booth and a confessor there.
Okay.
I told him everything.
Huh.
He said, it was the happiest I've ever felt in my life. He said, that's the best thing you have in Christianity.
Oh, wow.
During the cold weather, he meets a poor man. Alba Serapion meets a poor man with no clothes. And so he gives the naked man his own clothes, saying to himself, this is Christ. And then he continues walking with his small copy of the Gospels as his only remaining possession. And I need to stop here and say, the Gospels being his only remaining possession, this was at a time when books were manuscripts, handwritten. Right. And often, if he's carrying it around, it's probably even handwritten on vellum. So this was a pricey object. This wasn't, this wasn't, 16.99. This was like, fetch a sum.
Priceless, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And priceless for him too, because this is what he'd be reading. Right. This is what, this is what he'd be reading it, memorized. He'd probably have many portions of it memorized, if not the whole thing. His small copy of the Gospels is his only remaining possession. Recalling the cost of biblical manuscripts during this period, likely in the 5th century, what happens next is astounding. A passerby who knows, and now I'm reading directly from one of the books that tells his story. A passerby who knows him asks him, Abba Serapion, who has taken away your clothes? And Serapion, showing his gospel, replies, this is the one who has taken away my clothes. Serapion then goes to another place and there sees someone who is being taken to prison because he is unable to pay a debt. Serapion, seized with pity, gives him his gospel so that he can sell it and so pay his debt. When Serapion returns to his cell, no doubt shivering, his disciple asks him where his tunic is, and Serapion replies that he has sent it where it is more needed than on his body. To his disciple's second question, and where is your gospel? Serapion replies, I have sold the one who continually told me, sell your goods and give it to the poor.
I think it's a fascinating episode that you can find in its entirety, of course, on YouTube. My YouTube channel is just youtube.com/@Spark My Muse.